Call to order the Planning Commission meeting for Thursday, August 17th, 2017. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Harlicker, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Knobloch.
Here.
Commissioner Heikkila.
Here.
Commissioner Casey.
Here.
And Commissioner Schmolke.
Here.
And Chair Schwartz.
Here.
Let the record show that Commissioner Stevenson and Commissioner Stevens is, neither of them are at the meeting tonight. They weren't able to make it.
Thank you. First order of business this evening is to adopt our agenda.
To adopt the agenda?
I'll second.
Motion by Schmolke, second by Knobloch. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have approval of the minutes from our July 20th meeting.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Heikkila.
I move approval of the minutes from the July 20th, 2017 meeting.
Second.
Motion by Heikkila, second by Casey. Any discussion or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
And I abstain. Motion is approved, or minutes are approved with Schwartz abstained. All right, our first order of business this evening is planning case 17-16, a site plan for two retail buildings at 3550 124th Avenue, Amcon. Mr. Harlicker.
Get the PowerPoint up. Commissioners and Chair, this application is a request for a site plan approval. There also is a corresponding preliminary plat approval for this application. The applicant is proposing to construct two retail buildings. Get the PowerPoint presentation up. What they're proposing to do is to construct two buildings. One is 7,400, 800 square feet, and the other is 8,400 square feet. They'll be located in front of the Home Depot building, out in the north edge of their parking lot. The uses, proposed uses at this time include restaurants, coffee shop, and retail spaces. There's also a drive-through on the west end of the west building for the coffee shop. Planning Commission saw this last weekend, or last month, excuse me. And there we go. This will help. Here is the view of it. This is the Home Depot building. The site is out front along 124th, right here. That's the area to be developed. Here's the site plan and how it sits from the Home Depot. They'll have a parking lot will be shared with certain spaces designated for the retail building and the remainder for Home Depot. Both parking requirements for each of the uses exceed what the code requires. Here's a little more close-up. The big change from what was presented to the Commission last month, if you recall, we were in the process of going through a traffic study for the area. We did get the results of that, And the site plan that is before the commission tonight is a result of that traffic study. What's proposed is a single lane coming in through here to a three-way intersection at this point. It'll be stop conditions at that intersection. Customers will take a right turn into the project area. They can then take another right and get into the retail space. They continue in a little bit farther into the site and take a left to get into Home Depot. This drive aisle here also continues out to what I would call the west end of the site. There is a new access point out to 124th here. This is allows for a right out and right in, but no left turns out. That'll allow an alternative route out of the site and make it easier for customers that are using the drive-through. They can just go through 124th in here, go through the drive-through, and then go right back out again, and avoid going through the site. Out on 124th and Riverdale, there is also, as you're coming towards the site, there'll be a split in the road where if you're in the right lane, you have to take a right turn onto 124th, and if you're in the left lane, you continue down into the site, and it lines up with the new left lane on the south side of 124th. The landscape plan, it's very similar to what the commission saw last month. They have added plantings along the building along here, and they have modified the landscaping along here to accommodate the new road configuration. The landscape plan does comply with the landscape requirements. The stormwater management and grading plan has not changed significantly from what was with the old plan. With the revised plan, there is some additional space over here for possible stormwater storage. Otherwise, it'll be taken care of underground. These are the building elevations. This is if you recall, this is the front. We've got awnings and 3 different types of material. This is the elevation that faces 124th. Now filling in the gaps here will be shrubs and plantings between the sidewalk and the building. And these are the ends of the building. One of the conditions that if the commission approves the site plan includes awnings over all the windows, not just the ones in the front. A bike rack be provided in the common area between the 2 buildings. And the final plat be recorded prior to the issuance of a building permit. We do have a material board in front if the commission wants to look at that again. And the applicant is in the audience to answer any questions. The public hearing was left open from last month.
All right, Mr. Harker, I have a question. You said that as the traffic comes in on that new roadway, it comes to a 3-way stop, because the map diagram we got in our packet shows it as a 4-way stop, but the narrative describes it as a 3-way stop.
Chair Schwartz, there's actually 3 stop signs that are there. As you're coming in from the southeast, there's a stop condition prior to getting to the intersection, so cars are actually slowing down there. So engineering felt that stop signs are warranted at the other 3 legs of that intersection.
Could you explain that once again?
The proposed stop signs are for traffic coming into the site from 124th,
All right,
then exiting from the project area,
all right,
and then coming from the south as you're coming out of Home Depot. There isn't a stop on the southeast leg coming into the intersection because of the two drive aisles that are entering at that point. So the recommendation was, and the engineer had agreed with that, was that they put the signals at the 3 locations shown on the diagram.
but again, our diagram shows 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. Excuse me, 4.
So it is a
There
four-way
is 4.
stop.
Yep,
So the narrative saying it's a 3-way stop.
it's 4. Yep.
It is a 4-way. Thank you. Commissioner Schmolke.
So isn't the incoming today, that's not a stop today, correct?
Correct.
And so we're going to transition that into a stop?
Yes, and with the new configuration, that'll be a stop as you're coming in towards Home Depot.
And that's where we have that, that right turn lane as well, right? It's going to force you to either go right or go straight.
Are you talking about up on 124th or at the
Correct.
project site?
On 124th. I think that's where we're all,
24th and,
oh, you're talking elsewhere, I apologize. That's why I'm
I'm
confused.
talking down here.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's about
I'm, okay.
150
We
yards.
were in a
At
different.
124th, it's still a 3-way.
That's still a
Incoming is
3.
not stopped.
Okay.
so this is an additional access further into the project.
I
Because
see.
there is a 3-way stop at River Rapids Drive and then 124th.
Right,
There
that's
is-
staying the same. That's
okay.
not, the only change that's taking place there is they're adding the right turn lane by the Super America. That's the
Okay.
only modification that's really happening there.
Okay.
The big change is as you get farther away from 124th
Sure.
and this new intersection that's being created to better handle the flow coming into and out of the Home Depot and the proposed retail buildings.
Mr. Chair,
Okay.
can I just
Uh,
add clarification? So that is essentially on private property. where it's
Correct.
a four-way
Correct.
stop, it's not public.
Correct.
And we're saying it's a 4-way stop, but as it indicates, you're saying.
It is a 4,
three.
I was in the
It's
with
a
the
4.
4. Yep.
Okay.
Commission, any other questions for Mr. Harlicker at this time? Commissioner Casey?
Yes, sorry. So, Mr. Herlicker, you said there, on the west end of this Home Depot lot, there is an access already.
There is not.
There is a way to get out that onto 124th there, but it's more down toward Home Depot?
It's down by Home Depot.
Yeah,
Yep.
and so you're saying there's going to be an additional one?
Yes, Commissioner
Okay.
Casey, this will be a new access point out to 124th.
Okay, and right in, right out on,
Right in, right out, and if you're coming from Home Depot, I suppose you could turn left in there, but it's primarily a right in, right out only.
yeah.
Will there be a stop sign at that
Yes,
exit?
yes,
Because that's not marked.
okay.
All right, Mr. Harlicker, the petitioner you say is here, is, do you wish to make a presentation? No? All right. All right, then we'll move on to the public hearing. It was continued from last month. We'll reopen the public hearing. Is there anyone present wishing to speak to this case? Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing. Commission. Mr. Harlicker, you say the landscaping has been upgraded from what we had, or what was presented last month, and it now meets code.
Yep.
So, Mr. Chair, could I just ask for clarification? You've got a recommendation that includes a number 6, additional landscaping. Does that still hold true, or do they have that in there?
It's correct, Commission and Chair. The landscaping plan came in after the staff report went out. So that's why that's still listed as a condition.
Okay, so it's condition 3, the shrubs along 124th, and condition 6, landscaping around the dumpsters, that's all been met.
Yep, 3 and 6 have been.
So
Have
do
been
we
met.
can drop those, or should we just leave them?
It's up to the commission. They could be dropped if you so choose.
3 and 6, I suppose.
Well, 3 talks about shrubs, and 6 talks about additional landscaping that we don't really need done. So let's drop 3 and 6.
Chair Schwartz.
Commissioner Knobloch.
Do we have to add number 8 in regards to the stop sign required on 124th on the northwest side that we just were discussing? Is that a requirement as part of the recommendation? Do we have to add that, or was that just discussion?
Well, I thought Mr. Harlicker said that there would be a stop sign.
Okay.
There would be. You can add it as a condition if you so choose.
All right. So 4 is really 3, 5 is really 4, 7 is really 5, so the new condition would be 6. Stop sign at exit northwest exit. At the northwest exit, is that sufficient, Mr. Johnson?
That's fine, Your Honor. Chair Schwartz.
And Chair Schwartz on commission, should add another condition that the canvas awnings be included over all the windows.
The building elevations show that, but that wasn't in the narrative, it didn't seem. It is in the narrative.
Commissioner Casey, the elevations across the front have the awnings over them. The windows that are on the sides of the building and in the courtyard area do not.
Oh, they don't really, okay.
Interesting, I thought we talked about that last time, and I thought that was already covered.
They're gonna be included.
Yeah, that they were included last time. That's okay.
All right, so that'll be number 7.
Chair Schwartz?
Commissioner Schmolke.
If there's no other discussion in planning case 17-16, I'll move to approve the proposed site plan with the following conditions. Number 1, that all comments of the assistant city engineer be addressed. Number 2, the applicant enter into a site security agreement. Number 3, the applicant comply with the city code title 11. Number 4, the final plat must be recorded prior to issuance of a building permit. Number 5, a bike rack must be provided in the common area between the buildings. Number 6, the addition of the stop sign at the exit on the northwest corner at 127th, is that?
24th.
124th. And number 7 is the canvas awnings included above all windows.
I'll second that.
Motion by Schmolke, seconded by Casey. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. This is a decision by the planning commission, and it can be appealed to the city council if someone so chooses within 10 days. Otherwise, good luck.
Thank you.
Planning case, number 2, planning case 17-15, preliminary plat for Riverdale Commons 6th edition, 3550 124th Avenue, Amcon. Mr. Harlicker.
Yes, Chair and Commission. This is the corresponding preliminary plat for the project, platting 13.3 acres into 3 lots, 1 for each of the buildings, Home Depot and the proposed 2 retail buildings. Lot 1 is 11.1 acres, and that's for the Home Depot building. Lot 2 is 1.25 acres, and Lot 3 is 0.93 acres. Staff is recommending approval of the preliminary plat. The Planning Commission recommend approval to the council with the condition that all comments of the Assistant City Engineer be addressed.
Thank you. Any questions from Mr. Harlicker? All right, the public hearing was continued last month. I will reopen the public hearing. Is there anyone present wishing to speak to this case, planning case 17-15, preliminary plat? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. And Commission.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Casey.
I'll make a motion in planning case 17-15 that we approve the preliminary plat with the following condition. All comments of the Assistant City Engineer be addressed.
Second.
Chair Schwartz would like to make a point of information.
Second by Heikela. Go ahead, Mr. Nyblad.
On the copy of the architect draft that I have of the preliminary plat, it does not have on the northwest corner of 124th, it only has the entrance in front of the Home Depot building. It doesn't have the entrance by the drive-through for the building on the first plot. I just want to clarify or make sure that this is accurate, because it...
Chair Schwartz and Commission, if I can kind of explain the plat.
Mr. Harlicker.
The plat is on the existing conditions. It doesn't represent what's being proposed.
Okay.
That's why none of the site plan information that you just were considering is shown on the preliminary plat.
Thank you, Mr. Harlicker. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. This is a recommendation by the Planning Commission and will be heard by the City Council at their September 5th meeting. All right, moving on to our new business. Planning case 17-25, a home occupation permit for dog sitting at 13080 Marigold Street, Engstrom. Mr. Harlicker.
Yes, if we could get the PowerPoint presentation back up, please. The applicant is proposing a dog sitting business at 13080 Marigold Street. Property is right here highlighted in black. The applicant's proposed to operate the dog sitting business with a maximum of 2 dogs at a time. Clients, pet owners would arrive at the property, drop the dogs off, and then come back at a predetermined time and pick the dogs back up. The animals will spend most of their time in the house. They do have a fenced-in backyard to let the dogs go out. The applicant has indicated that she will be outside while the dogs are out there to help control noise. This is a diagram of their house. She indicated the dogs will be mostly on the main level. She does have a number of gates that can be used to contain the dogs in a specified area of the house. That area cannot exceed 400 square feet, and that is one of the conditions of approval. The other conditions of approval include provide methods to be used for sanitation control and to maintain quiet. No more than 2 client dogs can be staying at the residence at any given time. Hours of drop-off and pickup are limited to between 9 a.m. and 8 p.m. Maximum time that pet owners can be at the premises is 30 hours per week. Again, the dog sitting business can occupy no more than 400 square feet. All vehicles associated with the home occupation are parked in the driveway and compliance with Title 11. She indicated in her narrative that she's going to be taking small dogs under 40 pounds, and they do have their own dog as a pet. The applicant is in the audience tonight if you have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Harlicker. Any questions from the commission? Mr. Harlicker? Seeing none, is the petitioner anything they'd like to add?
No.
All right.
Mr. Chair?
Commissioner Casey?
I'll just put it out there. I think there is a need for this kind of business. You can look at it as in-home daycare or versus a franchise daycare. The same is starting to apply to dogs. And I'm even seeing some employers who are making pet insurance a part of their benefits package, you know, so they're coming of age here. I think it's looks like a nice plan. I drove past your house, nice site. So, Mr. Chair, if there's no more discussion.
Well, we have to have a public hearing yet.
Oh.
At this time, I will open a public hearing in planning case 1725, a home occupation permit for dog sitting at 13080 Marigold Street. Anyone wishing to speak to this matter? Seeing none, close public hearing. Mr. Johnson, a question for you. Does current ordinance require a kennel license for 3 dogs or more than 3 dogs?
We talked about this, and it would be more than 3.
So 3 dogs does not require a kennel license?
I believe that's true. I think
It was 3 or more, but the way the police department interpreted it, and we went through them with this too, the dogs have to be, the 3 is for dogs that are not pets. That's why we're limiting it to 2 dogs that are actually being boarded there. And then the other dog is a pet, so it doesn't count towards that 3 dog requirement for a kennel license.
Okay, I just wanted that clarified, because it was my understanding that 3 dogs did require a kennel license.
right. If they're not your dogs, yes.
Yeah, all right, thank you. All right, Commission, thoughts or motions?
Mr. Chair, can I just ask one question?
Commissioner Schmolke.
Thank you. So one of the commitments is that the pets won't be there more than 30 hours per week. Is that my understanding?
Well, it says the pet owners won't
Pet
be there more than
owners.
30 hours.
Would not be there more, oh, I see, I'm understanding. Okay, is there any sort of a limitation required for how long a pet can be at a location like this, or?
At this point, there was
There
no
isn't anything.
condition
Okay.
regulating that.
Got it, thank you.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Casey.
I will make a motion in planning case 17-25 to approve the home occupation permit with the following conditions. Number 1, provide methods to be used for sanitation control and to maintain quiet. Number 2, no more than 2 client dogs can be staying at the residence at any given time. Number 3, hours of drop-off and pickup are limited to between 9 a.m. and 8 p.m. Number 4, maximum time that pet owners can be at the premises is 30 hours per week. Number 5, the dog sitting business can occupy no more than 400 square feet. Number 6, all vehicles associated with the home occupation are parked in the driveway. And number 7, compliance with Title 11 City Code of Coon Rapids.
I'll second.
Motion by Casey, second by Schmolke. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. This is a decision by the Planning Commission and can be appealed to the City Council within 10 days if someone so chooses. Otherwise, congratulations and good luck. Okay, Mr. Harlicker, planning case 17-24, a site plan for a new car dealership, Gateway Commerce Center, Nate Sutton.
Yes, Chair and Commission. The applicant, if we get the PowerPoint presentation, is requesting site plan approval for a new car dealership. The site is shown here, it's outlined in black. It sits on both sides of Gateway Drive. One lot is here. The other lot is on the south side of Gateway Drive. Here's the proposed site plan. The dealership includes a 56,000 square foot dealership building and 911 parking spaces. The Gateway Commerce Center was amended in July of this year to allow the proposed dealership. You can see you've got the bulk of the parking over here is for inventory and employee parking, and then they've got inventory, customer parking, and inventory and service parking around the back of the building. The plan includes 54 spaces near the building reserved for customers, 66 are reserved for employees, and 791, the remaining parking is for inventory and service calls and service cars. When compared to the design guidelines of the Gateway PUD agreement, the proposal does complies and is consistent with the land use. We looked at public spaces. The PUD requires some sort of outdoor space. Staff is recommending that an outdoor seating area be provided near the front of the building, so for customers that are waiting for the cars to get serviced or finishing up sales, have a place to sit outside. Pedestrian connection is consistent. One of the conditions of the revised PUD, it was that an enhanced pedestrian crossing right there be provided. Enhancement include a change in material. There's an inlaid, there's a pattern to the crosswalk, as well as lighting on each side. One of the conditions of approval to enhance that is to move one of the, there is an ornamental light on that side of the access, and staff is recommending that it be moved to where the crosswalk is. There is a ornamental lighting, pedestrian scale lighting on the dealership side on the crosswalk, so that'll help identify that area as a pedestrian crossing so customers can get over to the inventory lot. Landscaping, the landscaping plan is consistent with the approved PUD agreement and the approved plan as part of the plan that was approved with the PUD amendment. There is landscaping on all the islands in the inventory parking lot along both sides of Gateway Drive, and then along the bank here, the upper reaches along Hanson Boulevard. So it does comply with the PUD agreement landscape plan that was approved. One of the things that they did show that wasn't on the approved plan are these dark circles that are scattered around the perimeter of the parking area are display pads. The PUD plan showed just the two on Gateway Drive, the one on there and then the one right there. They also have two on either side of the entrance off of Gateway Drive. Staff is recommending that the display pads be limited to the two that were shown on the plan that was approved as part of the PUD amendment. Looking at the building is oriented. This is the front of the building here. So it is oriented towards Highway 10 and Gateway Drive, which is one of the issues that's brought up in the PUD agreement. Site coverage is consistent with the PUD standards. The landscaped area and open spaces are adequate. Architectural character, you can see from the elevations, there are a number of breaks and changes in the roof line to give a variety to the building facades as well as the roof line. You see it drops down to this level here, then it drops down again to a one-story level, so it breaks up the roof. Exterior facades, the applicant is proposing a mixture of their precast panels, architectural metal panels, and then blue architectural metal panels. The precast panels are proposed to be painted. Typically, we require that precast panels be integrally colored. Staff is recommending that those precast panels be integrally colored. Since this is a PUD, Commission does have some flexibility with respect to colored versus painted material. This is the front elevation of the building with the showroom, the main entrance, and these doors here are service doors where people can come and drop off their cars for service. This is the rear elevation. This is the side that faces Hanson Boulevard. The darker areas are the brick, so they've got brick around the corners of the building. They bring it through and around this corner, and they've also included it in the columns between the service doors here. On the front, you can see it also how they wrap it around the corner. They got it along the base, and then in the columns around the service doors on the front elevation also. Some technical difficulties here tonight. Right, here's the south elevation where we've got the brick accents around the corners. Staff is recommending that the brick be brought up between on the columns between these doors here, so it matches what's done on the rest of the building. Here's the floor plan for the dealership. Again, this is the front elevation. Right here, those are those three service doors that you saw in the front elevation. This back here is the elevation that faces Hanson Boulevard. This side here that didn't pull up on the PowerPoint presentation faces Gateway Drive, And much of this wall into the service area is glass, and then they do have the brick accents on the corners. So they do have a good open airy feel to the building. Lighting proposed for this site plan is consistent with the lighting fixtures in other areas of the PUD. The fixtures should include cutoffs to direct light into the project and keep it from shining outside its intended area. They do have mission-style pedestrian lighting along the, oh, there's the North Boulevard. As you can see, the north elevation. You got the brick here, and this is the area where the service cars are parked, where customers drop them off. The lighter gray is glass windows. All the service doors will also be glass doors. There are the mission style lightings along the sidewalk, which runs along here. At this side where the crosswalk goes across Gateway Drive. Then staff is recommending that the one on this side of the driveway be moved over to here, and that an additional lights be added along the sidewalk here. So you got the sidewalk coming in from McDonald's, crossing Gateway Drive, and then extending down to the edge of the project site here. When the Walzer property comes in for development, that sidewalk will be extended down through their property. And we're looking for an additional 3 mission-style lightings along the sidewalk here to fill it in and to provide a more pedestrian scale to the project. Signage, they are proposing 3 monument signs, which is consistent with the design standards. One is a larger monument-style sign, 28-foot tall monument-style sign here. That area was identified as a monument sign for the development. Instead of putting the development sign in, the Honda dealership will be allocated that sign. They're also proposing 2 smaller individual lot monument signs that are 10 feet in height. One will be on this lot here, and the other one over here on the inventory lot. With that, staff is recommending the Planning Commission approve the site plan with the conditions that all comments of the city engineer be addressed, all comments from MnDOT be addressed, the applicant enter into a site security agreement, applicant comply with the city code, the car display pads be limited to 2 locations, one at the east end of the dealership lot and one at the west end of the same lot. The pads must be set back 10 feet from the sidewalk or right-of-way. The applicant receive all necessary permits from Coon Creek Watershed. The stone in between and around the 4 overhead doors on the south elevation be continued so it's even with the top of the doors. The lights located at the east entrance to the inventory lot move to the east side of the driveway so that it highlights the crosswalk. An additional 3 lights be added along the sidewalks, 1 near McDonald's and 2 between the east and west elevations of the inventory lot. And the plaza near the main entrance be revised to accommodate some outdoor seating.
Mr. Harlicker, is there any mention of a bike rack anywhere?
There is not. That would be a condition that the commission could add.
I know if Commissioner Stevens was here, she would be requesting that.
It's a car dealership.
Well,
Highlights the bikes.
On the motorcycles.
but you may be looking for a car and getting there on a
You don't have
bicycle.
a car, exactly.
Or employees could be riding bicycles, exactly.
All noted.
So I would like to add right away, condition 10, a bike rack. Somewhere
Leave it up to the applicant to
Yep.
decide.
All right, Commission, any questions from Mr. Harlicker at this time?
The applicant is in the audience to answer any
Commissioner
questions.
Eichel.
Is there anything specifying what the outdoor seating is? Is it, can be just a picnic table, or what is it?
It could be a table, a picnic table, some sort of garden table, some benches, something to allow people an opportunity to sit outside. And Chair and Commission, the condition 11, that the precast panels be integrally colored.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Schmolke.
Mr. Harlicker, so the area where we have the crosswalk from the main parking lot to the back parking lot, so to
Yep.
speak. So I really like that. I want to just ask the question, is that, that change in the pavement, is that kind of intended to help slow traffic down in that area? Just to be mindful that it's a crossing, you know?
Yeah,
or-
Commissioner Schmolke and Chair Swartz. It's really to identify that it's a sidewalk and let drivers coming through there know that it is. Well, there'll be signage, you'll have the change in pavement. At night, we'll have the lighting.
Yep.
Originally, we thought maybe raising the elevation, but we determined that wasn't really unnecessary. We don't do that for city crosswalks.
Right, right.
But we do have enhancements, and that's what the lighting and changing in pavement and texture
Sure.
is intended to do.
So I think as as an additional business, is developed past this dealership, I think traffic obviously is going to increase in this area, and I just want to make sure that this doesn't become a speed, concern. And I do like the changes that we've got there. I guess for Mr. Sutton, maybe it's since there's so much inventory that's around the main parking lot, where the main building is, do you really anticipate that there's going to be a lot of traffic going across there?
If you want to come up to the...
Good evening. How's everybody?
Very good.
There'll be very little foot traffic. So what typically happens in a dealership is we have a representative sampling of all the vehicle lines. 67% of our sales are just 3 vehicles, which are Core Civic CRV. So we'll have all of those on the main lot.
Okay.
And if a customer wants pink, orange, we put them in the car, we drive them over to the inventory, and we look at the inventory. So
Okay.
there'll be very little, we anticipate very, very little foot traffic. Customers are not really, they really don't want to walk. You know what I mean? They want to be pampered, if you will.
Certainly.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commission, any other questions from Mr. Harlicker at this time? Then, Mr. Sutton, you may want to give a presentation. Or is there a presentation you wish to make? All right. Mr. Casey?
Yes, Mr. Harlicker, I had a question about those display pads. Originally, we approved 2 as
Correct.
PUD, and then they came back with 7. And
I
is it-
believe that's what it is, 7 extra. I
Is
think
there a
there's 9 total.
standard? Is there a standard for dealers or something?
No, it's strictly based on the layout of the lot, and you're trying to get maximum visibility, in this case, to the interstate and Hanson Boulevard. So we would put them up.
So the 2 that are gonna be there will be on this main building lot?
Correct. There'll be none on the inventory line.
None on
And you can live with the 2?
Yeah, it'll be fine.
And the condition on the precast panels being integrally colored?
Well, they're gonna be white, is that what you mean?
Well, the report stated that you were initially saying that you were going to have them being painted panels, and our code requires integrally colored.
What does that mean?
The color is baked into the concrete.
Oh, from the factory?
Yes.
Okay, we can do that.
Okay.
You normally paint them on site, but yeah, we can have them painted.
Makes them more maintenance-free that way.
Yeah. That's true. No overhaul. The bike rack was a curveball, but we'll find a space for a bike rack.
All right. And do you have a materials board of any kind of your materials you're going to be using? Color samples and what have you?
I did not bring it. You mean exterior?
Yes.
It's precast concrete, and they're white. Actually, that's not even on the material board. The material board is just interior. That's what we have. But I did not bring it with.
All right.
If we could get the PowerPoint back up, please.
So the Honda cylinder is blue, and then the Honda Wave is, those colors are all dictated by the manufacturer. So all their buildings are white and just that little bit of blue. The code for Coon Rapids, of course, is the stone, but it's really unusual for a dealership to have any type of brick or stone. But that's just part of the requirements to be in Coon Rapids, so we've added stone in this development.
And you're talking about the brick between the service doors and that kind of thing?
Yeah,
it's
actually
it's
stone.
a stone, not a brick.
It's not brick. It's actually stone.
It's a stone,
Yeah.
which kind of aligns with the PUD requirements?
Correct.
So if you look at McDonald's or Taco
Yeah.
Bell, they
Right.
have stone and.
They're high-end.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's, okay. It's just, we'll have stone.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Schmokey?
Just one more, I guess, clarifying question, or curiosity question. So those display pads, if you don't mind, is there a reason why staff recommended the decrease in the number?
Well,
That people might be interested.
yeah, Commissioner Schmolke and Chair Swatch, that's what was on, when you approved the PUD amendment, that's what was shown on the PUD amendment. Adding 7 of them is a pretty significant deviation from what was approved.
Got it.
I think a lot of them, the ones that are back along Hanson Boulevard, there's such a steep grade in back there that I don't know how visible they would be
Okay.
from Hanson, because you're looking down, you're gonna see more of the building than a car pad that's tucked into the side of the hill.
Okay,
That was the rationale for it.
thank you.
What's the height of those elevated pads?
3 feet, I believe.
They're very low. Very,
And then they've got a ramp going up and then a slope on the sides that are, it's got a stone river rock stone on it.
And some sort of lighting to accent the cars, I suppose.
correct.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Commission, any other questions at this time? Otherwise, we'll have a public hearing. Open public hearing in planning case 17-24, the site plan for the new car dealership at Gateway Commerce Center. Anyone wishing to speak to the public hearing? And seeing no one in our audience, close the public hearing. Commission,
Chair Schwartz?
Commissioner Schmokey.
So I just want to reiterate a little bit again from the last time we met. I'm really excited for this project. I really am. It's, that area, again, has been, we've been waiting for some development to come in there. I know there's been a lot of discussion about the types of businesses and so forth. I think the plan that has been laid out here is really a compliment to the city. All the benefits that were discussed before, and I'm just excited to support it.
Yep. And Chair and Commissioners, the one phone call that I did get, the woman was excited about Honda coming to
Okay.
town.
That
That was
too.
the only phone call I took.
Mr. Chair?
Commissioner Eichel.
I also will echo what Commissioner Smolke said and what I said at the previous meeting as well, that when I voted for approval, that I'm excited to see that area get developed and excited to see a nice quality building come in there and the jobs that come with it. And pretty much everything about it, in my opinion, is positive. So I'm happy to support it.
All right, Commission, anyone wish to make a motion?
Chair Schwartz, I propose
Commissioner Knobloch.
in Planning Case 17-24 Planning Commission, move to approve the proposed site plan with the following conditions. All comments of the Assistant City Engineer be addressed. Number 2, all comments from MnDOT be addressed. And number 3, the applicant enter into a site security agreement. Number 4, the applicant comply with City Code Title 11. 5, car display pads are limited to 2 locations, one at the east end of the dealership and one at the west end of the same lot. The pads must be set back 10 feet from the sidewalk or right of way. 6, the applicant must receive all necessary permits from Coon Creek Watershed District. Number 7, the stone in between and around the 4 overhead doors on the south elevation must be continued so that it is even with the top of the doors. Number 8, the light located at the east entrance to the inventory lot must be moved to the east side of the driveway so that it highlights the crosswalk. An additional 3 lights must be added along the sidewalks, 1 near the McDonald's and 2 between the east and west entrances to the inventory lot. Number 9, the plaza near the main entrance be revised to accommodate outdoor seating. Number 10, a bike rack to be added, or a Honda motorcycle bike rack to be added. Number 11, to have integrally colored panels integrated into the plan. And that's it.
Second.
Motion by Knobloch, second by Casey. Any further discussion? Mr. Sutton, one more question. Delivery of your inventory, will it be going to the main lot or to the inventory lot?
Inventory lot.
And they will be pulling in and offloading in the lot and not on the roadway?
That's the plan, yes.
All right, thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. This is a decision by the Planning Commission and can be appealed to the City Council within 10 days if someone so chooses. Congratulations and good luck.
Okay.
We look forward to seeing a new building by September? Next year, September. Yep.
Welcome to Coon Rapids.
Mr. Harlicker, anything you have for us under other business?
Nothing significant. We did get building permit plans for the church over on Foley Boulevard, answering Jesus Church. So they'll be moving forward this fall once the plans review is complete.
And we have anything else on our agenda for next month?
Next month, the big item is the Walzer property. Walzer is coming in for development of their dealership. It's going to be Nissan. And so they'll be in for site plan review next month. We do have North Star Church submitted an application for the Legion building over on Crooked Lake Boulevard. That's a conditional use permit. And then we've got a couple old conditional use permits that need to be revoked that are down in Riverwalk that need to be revoked prior to prep this area for development.
All right.
Chair Schwartz,
Commissioner Knobloch.
I'd like to ask Mr. Harlicker, any developments on the empty lot that about 2 months ago, I believe it was redistricting of beside the Sister Kenny, right across from Menards, right beside the Twin Cities orthopedic.
At this point, we haven't received any applications. I know the property owner is still working with a developer to develop that property.
Thank you for the update.
All right, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Smokey, second by Casey, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned.